Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your patience. Actually, we had the citywide blackout, which is why we're a little bit late. But thank you very much for holding for us. It's Marolla here. I am the co-founder of Ave Digital and CEO of Feng, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you from the wonderful city of San Severo in Italy. It's a wonderful day here, as you can imagine. It's sunny, 17 degrees. I'm having quite an amazing start of 2025. Today, first of all, I would like to ask you, where are you coming from? And of course, let me know if you're still here. It's, the beauty of technology, sometimes you check everything and then at the very last minute, boom, citywide blackout. But here we are, and I'm looking forward, of course, for the wonderful conversation that we're going to have today about the power of personal branding and data. Now, let's see who is here. And actually, if you can write something just to make sure that you can hear me and see me. That's a little bit of an unusual start for us today. So I'd really appreciate if you could drop a comment in the comment section and tell us, how's your 2025 so far? Now, the topic of today is a bit unusual. Usually we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about data management, and in a way, we are talking about data, but that's not the only thing. Today we're talking about personal branding, and it's important. It's important in data and beyond. At Ave Digital, we always, we remind everyone that, without personal branding, without being visible, it's very difficult to make an impact nowadays. We live at a quite interesting time where physical branding and online branding come together to create one unified image for professionals. We also have here Annie, and we have Tom. Thank you very much for to all of you, of course, for holding on. And of course, we have Mane here as well from Moscow, and Annie, of course, our marketing mastermind at Ave Digital. Now, of course, when it comes to creating a personal brand, it's very important to remember that this is something that really enables us to, to cut the distance that there is naturally between people, between continents, and so on, and really connect with an incredible network of people wherever they are, and connect with them in such a way that is, not just about your job title, not just about your company, but it's also about what you stand for, what you're passionate about, and of course, create a new form of connection with the people, with your online tribe. Now, for today, I have a wonderful guest, someone I had the pleasure to work with in the past, Tiankai Feng. Of course, we know him from the times of the Master Data Marathon, and I've been following his incredible journey online on LinkedIn. I've seen how, I've seen all the songs that came out and his incredible content over time. So it's really a pleasure for me to welcome on stage today, Tiankai Feng.
Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I had a great start of 2025 too. So I hope we can provide some inspiration and joy to the people in this session as well.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've seen some of your pictures. I've seen deserts. You had quite a lot of fun, I assume.
Absolutely. I had a longer break. I was in Dubai. I was in a small village called Ravensburg here in Germany as well. So I experienced different things over the New Year's and holiday break. And yeah, I feel recharged and ready to, engage now.
Fantastic. Now, for those in the audience that don't know you yet, although, of course, we share quite a lot of the same connections, tell us something about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I currently work as a data strategy and data governance lead at ThoughtWorks Europe, which is a consultancy that focuses on data and tech bespoke solutions. I'm a big fan and passionate about the human side of data, which is why last year I released a book about it called Humanizing Data Strategy that released in July. And that is so far resonating very well with the audience and with the community. And yeah, in my free time, I'm a father of two young kids, 5 and 3, and I'm a passionate musician as well. And sometimes I like to combine my musical skills with my data expertise and make entertaining and educational songs about data on LinkedIn and on YouTube.
Oh, they're absolutely legendary. I
Thank you.
remember, and I watched some of them. They're lots of fun and educational at the same time, just as you said.
Yes, exactly.
Very good, very good. So let's talk about the start of the journey.
Mhm.
Why did you start with your personal brand?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I have to say, I didn't actually intentionally start with my personal brand. It all started with me being a bit more communicative online and basically trying to combine my unique talents with my expertise and to share some knowledge. And I remember I got more active on LinkedIn around 2018 and 2019. And end of 2019, I actually had this epiphany that I wanted to write a song about digital analytics. And I've never combined my musical hobby with my work before then. So I wrote a rap song, and I'm not really a rapper, but I did write a rap song about data and digital analytics in that case. And first only shared it with my colleagues and in the intranet in the organization I was in back then. And they urged me to also post it on LinkedIn and see what happens. And what one of the things where over time I didn't realize that so many people would actually enjoy and resonate with music about data. And there was almost an audience now that was encouraging me to continue and to do more of that. And I've been doing that ever since. So music and data became kind of my personal brand. And I only realized now years later what worked and what didn't work, but how it became a personal brand to be the creative person around data leaders, but also someone who's approachable and who is able to communicate complex topics in simple ways. And I'm applying that now more consciously and intentionally in my day to day.
Fantastic. And let me tell you, we found out about you exactly from one of your songs. That's what led
There you go.
to the first collaboration, which I think speaks volumes about the importance of creating content that is valuable and is memorable, because that's basically how we started working together.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it has also led to so many unexpected collaborations over the last years. I can really say that not only do I feel really lucky that I can use my passion for music at work a lot, but that it also opens so many doors for me, right? And that I'm able to be invited to speak at different topics, that I'm considered for certain roles in organizations. And all of that is really nice to see that by being unique and doing things a little bit differently and being known for something can open all of those doors in a career.
I'm so glad that you're saying that. We say it all the time that indeed creating a personal brand is something that is a it helps you go through changes in the market, changes in trends. It helps you build collaborations that go, that really stand the test of time.
Hmm.
And perhaps you will change your position as well. Perhaps you will speak at a different conference on a different topic. And what kind of connects all together is your personal brand, way more than your job title, way more than the logo that you are fixed next to, in your
Absolutely.
CV.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good. And what else have you seen aside from these collaborations, like speaking opportunities and so on? How else did your personal brand help you?
I think when it comes to my day to day and either working in a big corporate environment or now as a consultant, it
Okay, I believe we lost for a few seconds Tiankai here. Can you hear me all right? Just if you can write in the comments if we're still online and everything is good. But yeah, love speaking about this because I've been really following. We've all been following Tiankai's journey. Tiankai, can
I'm
you hear
sorry.
me?
Yes, I'm back now. I'm sorry. I think
Oh,
I
no
dropped off
worries.
a little bit, but I'm back. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. I think you were asking me about what other opportunities or what other things happen after personal brand, right? So I basically I realized that it's a wonderful icebreaker. Like the people that I started speaking to and the connections that I needed to make in my job, if they already knew me about something and knew me from any of the content that I did, it started the conversations on a much nicer note, right? And especially, I think when you're in a job that is by nature not really the most welcoming one, right? Let's say, for example, data governance, you're always seen as the data police, or you work in auditing, for example, so you're always seen as someone who's checking in and trying to look for mistakes, right? Then it doesn't really speak for you that you're approaching them and nobody actually wants to talk to you immediately, right? But because I had that personal branding and the image of being nice, approachable, and entertaining and fun, it really opened the doors in a much nicer way, and people were willing to have conversations more easily with me, and I was able to talk about and important topics and then complex topics like data governance in a more welcoming way, in a more easygoing way, rather than having to convince someone really skeptical about it at first.
very good. And I agree, the content that you have, again, is entertaining, it's light in a way. You often talk about the human side of data, which
Hmm.
really helps you to pierce through this separation that we often see between the let's say the data specialist and the business side, right? Because
Yeah,
your content is just something that is easy to understand, and at the same time it's not as dry and sometimes boring for the
yeah,
non-data folks as it usually
absolutely.
is. So great point there, and I completely agree with you. It's
Yeah,
always uh, that's one more thing about the personal brand, that um, it kind of worms the conversation before it happens, and it's like an introduction to a new audience without you
absolutely.
having to start from the very beginning and facing this separation and facing this um, ice that there is, that okay, he's a data guy, oh okay, he's doing data
Exactly.
governance or something like that.
Absolutely. I think, and what you're talking about is a really important topic. I really talk about the difference between reputation and personal branding, right? Because no
Mm.
matter what you do, no matter how present you are or how much you communicate, there's always going to be a reputation about you, right? Even if you're like, let's say, the most introverted, most quiet person, then you will have the reputation of being quiet and unnoticeable and bland, right? And no matter how you do it, the way you look, the way in what department you're working in, the way you dress, right? People will make up their own mind about you anyway, and you will have a reputation. So if you don't intentionally work on how you want to be perceived and what you want to be known for, then people will tell the story on behalf of you rather you telling your own story about you. And I think that's rather like a cautionary tale, right? That if you don't work on your personal brand with more intention, then people will create a brand for you, and that's not necessarily the one you want, and that might actually work against you rather than for you. And so we should all take a little bit more time and effort to actually work on how we want to be perceived, and then act like it and make sure that we are perceived that way.
This is such an important point, and I fully agree with you. You do personal branding and you do marketing, let's say, whether you're doing it consciously or not.
Exactly.
At least by doing it consciously, you're deciding how you want to be perceived. Now,
Exactly.
of course, it still pays off to be authentic and everything else, and to have to project what you want to project to the outside. But yeah, I fully agree with you. Whether you are visible or invisible, you still have a brand. You still
Yeah,
have a reputation,
absolutely.
just not the chosen one, and just not the one you choose for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also a great keyword that you just mentioned is authenticity, right? And I feel like there's this, I would say, yeah, there's this perception that when we talk about work-life balance or we talk about um, separating work with personal life, that it's a very hard line, right? That there shouldn't
Mm.
anything that is crossing, and work is work and life is life. But in reality, we cannot stop ourselves from having a personality at work, right? The personality that we have at work and the personality that we have outside of work are usually very closely connected. And either we consciously or unconsciously are making a choice what kind of personality we want to have in work and in life. And when we do that, right, our personal side is blending into the work side, right? So it's more about how and what degree you let your personal side affect your work life that is authentic to you, rather than saying I'm blocking all of my personal things and I'm going to be just at work and I'm not doing anything else. Because in the end, that's what it is, right? You have to show personality and show how you want to be at work and how you want to be at home.
Yeah, we lost Tiankai a few more seconds. I fully agree on this. It's very difficult to do a complete separation. And I would argue that it can be, it's quite hard, to set aside completely your personality at work, can be even alienating to a point. So, in the meantime, let's welcome Natalia, of course. And Tiankai,
I'm
you're
back.
back.
Yes, I'm sorry. And after your city blackout, it seems like my internet is not stable, but I'll try my best to
Wonderful.
keep it stable. Yes, I'm
We're,
back.
we're handling it. We're handling it like champs still.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, you were mentioning about the separation between work-life
Yeah, yeah.
balance. I
So
fully agree with you.
exactly. And that actually means that if you want to do personal branding, you actually have to let your personality bleed into your work side as well. So you actually have to consciously open up the gates and let it bleed into each other a little bit. So you do have a personal brand, because it's about your personality and your unique self, and not about being the best professional, but actually being your own unique professional based on your personality.
Yes, and it pays off so much. We are surrounded by a lot of content nowadays that feels very impersonal and very cold. And wherever we see that degree of that spark of authenticity, that spark of, uniqueness in the content that we see, that's what we immediately connect to. Which is why I would actually argue that personal branding is also very valuable when done by individuals for the sake of personal branding, but it also helps organizations to encourage people to cultivate their personal branding, to
Yeah.
give the organization a more human feel. And basically, not to make it an anonymous gray conglomerate of people.
Absolutely. I think that might actually be a great connection to the topic that's currently very hot, which is AI generated content as well, right? I think all over LinkedIn, we're seeing a lot
Yeah.
of posts, pictures, comments, all generated by AI and chatbots nowadays. And it's really obvious, though, right? You will notice that there's something off with it. It seems really generic and really somehow bland. And it feels somehow very obviously like an imitation of something, rather than actually a real human being that's writing those. And if you want to be more active on social media and you want to actually have your personal brand, doing AI generated content seems to be actually the opposite, because you're basically imitating all of the learning data that flow into that AI algorithm, right? And in the end, you end up being just a copycat and a conglomeration of imitations of different other content, rather than having created your own unique voice and your own unique content. And I think that's really important maybe nowadays. This is not against using AI for productivity reasons, right? To get maybe some inspiration and so on, but it's really important to make it your own and really count on what you are and who you are, rather than relying on the AI to create content for you.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there into the AI discussion because sometimes I get a bit, a bit critical about the abuse of AI in content
Yeah,
creation. But yeah, you nailed it there. You're trying to build a personal branding and what do? You outsource your voice.
yeah,
You lose all of it.
exactly,
You, you
exactly.
know, and okay, it may work in the beginning because the content, the amount of pieces, like the amount of content you create is more, but in the end, people see through it. There's no uniqueness in what's written there. There's nothing that really um, helps you creating that. It's just a matter of, okay, maybe you will increase a bit the followers, a little bit the likes. Maybe you will also use, a tool for generating comment under other people's posts, which is another thing that is getting progressively annoying. Let us say that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it almost feels like nowadays to have a person like to stand out is enough to just speak your mind and put aside these tools that just make you plain and faceless.
Absolutely. Actually, while you're talking about that, it feels like people choosing quantity over quality, right? Because now that you can create a comment with one button click, right? Create, like basically generate a comment for this post. It, of course, is easy and you save a lot of time instead of writing it yourself. But the quality of your comment is really bad because it is basically just a um, copying of the post content in different words, and it looks like you are engaging, but everyone can see that it's very generic and very artificial. So in a way, we should focus on quality again more rather than quantity when it comes to communication.
I agree with you so much about this, and particularly, many individuals that are attempting personal brand nowadays are executives. Okay,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then when you're handing the voice of an executive to an LLM, it's quite dangerous for your
Exactly.
reputation, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. So let me ask you, because one of the reasons why so many people try to use shortcuts to build a personal brand is that it's difficult,
Mhm.
it's challenging. So what were the blockers in your case? Were there any challenges in the beginning that you had to overcome?
Yes, I think the very first challenge is the decision to post at all, I would say, and to be
Mm.
communicative publicly at all, right? I think as many professionals probably you are taught to, or you are first starting in a more insecure way and you want to learn more and you are never sure if it's worth communicating more about, especially publicly. The whole typical imposter syndrome, right? Who am I to say that I can teach people something or something worth sharing that people want to read about? And getting over that and realizing that I'm doing unique things and I have my unique voice was the first step to then say, okay, I'm going to start posting. And once in a while, I started doing some things. And I think then it was still very much, let's say, usual content, I would say, right? Talking about a team event, talking about something I read and reviewing a book or something, right? The typical things. It took me then a while and having the boldness to say, all my colleagues enjoy what I'm doing and my content. I'm going to post it publicly as well, because at least then my colleagues already still enjoy it. And even if the public doesn't like it, at least I have people on my side that are enjoying it, right? So a little bit of a safety net. And then I started posting music, I posted memes, right? I posted jokes about things, all in the manner of being unique and doing things in a different way. The whole goal was to make data management, data governance more approachable always, right? And more understood through humor and entertainment. And over time, that actually worked, right? A lot of people then asked me if they could use my content to explain actually the topics to their stakeholders or to their clients as well, right? And it became a thing where I realized I'm actually not only giving value to my audience, they can even use it to give value to their stakeholders. So for me, the motivation became much bigger to actually do things differently and to create content in a certain way. Um, I think one of the general challenges on the way has always been that there are always going to be negative voices, right? The more present you
Mm.
are and the more unique you are, there's always going to be people that don't actually enjoy it, right? I think I heard voices about telling me that I'm only successful because of music. How is that fair, right? Or that I'm not serious enough, right? Because I make jokes about data all the time. So how could I ever be serious, right? These are things I've heard and I faced. But luckily, the positive voices always overweigh the negative ones, right? And I learned over time to also deal with criticism, right? Because some of them are relevant, right? Some of them are like, okay, I take that to heart and I will work on it to make my communication better. But others, you can also just ignore, right? Because certain people will never understand how you do unique content and how you unique your way. And creating any kind of emotion is still better than creating no emotions at all, right? At least you are causing some kind of a reaction. And as long as the positive reactions outweigh the negative ones, I think we are all on a good track.
It's a very good message that you're sharing here. I fully agree with you. You see, the moment you express yourself and you have opinions, of course, you will have people that will disagree with you.
Absolutely.
And yes, of course, if you go ahead and post things that are, watered down, common sense, maybe no one will criticize. Yeah. Maybe there
Right.
will be, more likes and more engagement. But do you really need that? Do you really need the superficial kind of click? Do you need instead someone who appreciates you, your content, your professional brand for what you are, for who you are? Of course, it's much better to elicit emotion. Good, more than bad, of course, but
Yeah.
it's inevitable. It's inevitable that you have people disagreeing if you have an opinion. It's just as
Absolutely.
simple as that.
Exactly.
And yeah, and there's a good point here, of course, raised by Najim.
Hi, Najim.
Quantity, yeah, sustainable, lasting interaction beyond the surface. Yeah, indeed. I mean, we're not looking here um, just get a ton of likes or whatever, or end up in engagement bots, because that's not really the point, right?
Yeah.
We appreciate that it gives some degree of validation to see that lots of people engage with content, but at the same time there is meaningful engagement as well,
Absolutely.
which is what matters. There is the engagement that maybe you go to a conference tomorrow and someone meets you and tells you, oh, I know you from that song, or oh,
Yeah.
you're famous, Tiankai.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really something that shows, okay, I haven't just been playing the social media game here. I've actually built something that goes beyond the digital, bleeds into the physical, and everything works together seamlessly, isn't it?
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Natalia also.
Yeah, just one more note on Najim's comment, actually. I like that a
Yeah.
lot. And the one about personal relationships is a really important one because it goes both ways, I think, right? The more personal relationships you have, the better I think you are authentically in your communication, because you have that echo box and you have that surrounding of trusted people that you actually can rely on and that give you the confidence and encouragement to be yourself, right? Even publicly. And the other way around, the better you're authentically communicating and you are branding yourself, the more personal relationships you can build that are really meaningful, right? And that you can actually find people that are in a similar mindset and that you share a lot of values with. Like with a collective friend that we have, Scott Taylor, right? I mean, I also only got in touch with him because of my music, and I don't think I would have appeared on his radar even if I wasn't like who I am. And this led to a collaboration of many years now, right, where we're actually in touch and we're always eager to work on some entertaining content together. On the other side, um, the openness for personal relationships can also lead to people that are abusing that opportunity, right? And the more I got more present, the more I got sales emails, the more I got invitations to meetings about giving feedback on things, on tools and everything. And it gets to the point where not everything has an intrinsic motivation to just be connected and learn from each other, right? They want to sell things, they want to reach certain goals. And that is unfortunate, something that I have to deal with as well. That is not always nice, but it's something to deal with, right? The more presence you become, the more you're on the radar of not only the nice people, but also on people that are more rationally trying to reach their goals and not actually thinking about your feelings and your time that you're investing in all this.
Oh, absolutely. And that's not a bad thing per se, meaning that, this is a network, this is social network made for connections and so on. But when you see that you're just one of 1,000 that receives a non-personalized message about selling something, spelling your name wrong or whatever, and so on and so forth, then you're seeing, okay, um, this is not what I would like, what I would like to receive, and but it's an inevitable thing, and people are free, just as you're creating great content and just as you're making really great use of the platform, everyone has the freedom to make their use of the platform.
That is true.
So
That
it's
is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
You hit on a very interesting point before, when you talked about some of the criticism, right? That you just have music and it's unfair that you're famous just because of music. How is that unfair? I don't understand, but okay, we'll take that.
Yeah.
But also about the fact that it's kind of not serious, and this I think is a bit of another blocker
Yeah.
and a mistake sometimes that in the B2B happens very often, right? Everything needs to be very appropriate, very serious,
Hmm.
very, like this. Do you see this too?
I would say yes, but it really depends on the industry and market. I would say where that
Mm,
happens. It still happens in like very serious organizations that have existed for a long time, where there seems to be
mm,
more of a conservative vibe. Right? It's usually very strongly correlated with how people dress up for their job. I would say, right? So the more suited up they are, the more serious they are probably made in their communication as well. Um, but it's really something where the new world has research, right? That humor and empathy actually helps in running
mm,
businesses in a better way. And actually consciously deciding against it is counterproductive because you're taking away a little bit the humanity of things, right? By forcing
mm,
everyone to be serious and not make any jokes all the time. Um, Overall, I think there's always a balance, right? I know that from a corporate communications point of view and from a marketing point of view, a lot of companies want to make sure that representatives of the organizations are actually not breaking the image that they build up for a brand, right? But at the same
mm,
time, it has to be balanced to the autonomy of the people, right? Of them being able to communicate in the way they want to. So finding a balance and maybe a closer communication between corporate communications, marketing, and individuals can help to actually bridge it, right? Where the brand of the company can work together with the personal brands and together create synergies for the overall win of both the company brand and the personal brands as well.
Yeah, good point. I agree with you. It takes some courage as well,
Hmm.
especially when you're the first to do it in a specific industry that is very conservative. And I'm sure it was the case also in the data industry, right?
Sure.
With the first content that was a little bit lighter or that was more for a wider audience. I'm sure that it was met also with a bit of scorn, let's say.
Right.
But it's important to do it, and I think the organizations that understand in the B2B sector that whether it's B2B, B2C, you're still selling to people, embrace that and understand that no one cares about hyper serious, flat, symmetrical, everything kind of content, but people prefer something that communicates more warmth and also communicates a little bit about the values that are behind you, the human values that are behind your organization. I think those
Yeah,
are the companies that are going to win in this time.
absolutely. Fully agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's still people.
Yeah,
We're still people still need to sell to people.
absolutely.
B2B, B2C, it's B2P in the end. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Um, Here's a question from Natalia. Where do you usually get the inspiration for new content?
Hmm.
Tiankai.
Great question, Halia. I would say actually it really comes from being present in the day to day and observing closely all the situations you're in. My typical example is that during the COVID lockdown times, we were all stuck in virtual meetings all of a sudden, right? Like all of the meetups became virtual, and all of the virtual meetings had the same sentences, right? Like, can you hear me? Can you see my screen? Sorry, my internet was gone, blah 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 blah. All of the same sentences we are saying still here today, right? For example,
Cheers to
and
that.
and Because it was said so often, I created a song about it, right? I basically parodied Disney songs and called it If Disney Songs Were About Meetings. And that was a huge success. It was a combination of what people were familiar with a new reality they were in, and something mundane that everyone was experiencing, and basically making it joyful that way. And in many ways, my inspiration comes from holding up a mirror, like something that is happening to many of us in a day to day. And by packaging it in a different way with some creativity, I can hold up a mirror and say, look, this is actually a little bit ridiculous sometimes. But because it's ridiculous, it's not that serious and we can actually solve it, right? It's not that the world is kind of breaking down and we cannot help it. Since we are all facing the same challenges, I think we can work on a solution to make it better together. So this kind of the motivation I come in. So if it's memes or songs or jokes, it all starts with that note. I think this is something that we are all going through. Let me just put it out there in a way that's entertaining as well.
Absolutely, it's very relatable. That's
Yeah.
that's the key there, by making something relatable, funny, and entertaining. Yeah, of course, it's great. I think during the initial period during COVID, we decided to experiment with TikTok style videos, right? Which
Oh,
was kind of a yeah, yeah, yeah. And in the beginning, I was a little. I admit that I was a little bit skeptical about it because I thought, serious company, yeah.
yeah.
We're talking about data management to data management leaders. So, but then in the end, this was the time when everyone was using TikTok. Everyone was, stuck at home, and many of those videos became viral for Fingerlingers. They were really foundational for all the series of events, the data marathons that we have done. We've done 7 afterwards, so that just speaks to how it helped us
Awesome.
indeed.
Yeah.
And there's a comment here for money. If you don't create, yeah, indeed, if you don't create your personal brand, others will create it for you. A big takeaway from this live to remember, absolutely. And we have a question. What do you think is missing on the tech side of LinkedIn in terms of personal branding and marketing?
That's a good question. The reason why I'm a little bit hesitant with answering that question is um, that LinkedIn is still a business social network, right? And it's not a
Mm,
personal social network. So if we think about how TikTok innovated with like different sounds, different filters, that's not suitable for LinkedIn, right? People are not gonna basically start doing LinkedIn dances and putting dog face filters on their faces to basically be present on LinkedIn. So what is actually missing from a tech side? I would say maybe the different media formats could be a bit better supported. I think posting videos has been a bit more present now, and there's like the specific video support by LinkedIn nowadays to do that in a better way. But it's still not really perfect on how to navigate around videos and find good videos that are relevant for you for some reason, right? I think when it comes to the algorithm, it's not really clear for everyone how it works. Some things just tank and without any reason. It's an original picture with an original text, and it gets maybe one impression in an hour, and nobody knows how. And that is, of course, very tricky and demotivating for people. And I think lastly, maybe the scheduling function. It seems like if you want to actually be consistent in your posting and your schedule post, the scheduled one seems to get consistently less reach than the ones that you're posting in the moment for some reason. And if you're a busy person and you have things to do in your day to day, then this is not really nice, right? So that forces you to take the time out of your day to day busy times to then just post so you can ensure higher reach. But these are all just nitty gritty things, I would say. Overall, it shouldn't stop anyone from getting started, right? And if you are consistent and you're authentic and you have something worth saying and sharing with the audience, then I think you're gonna be successful on LinkedIn as well.
so no filters.
Yeah, unfortunately, no filters. Exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, this is. What would you like to see more of in terms of personal branding and yeah.
Hmm. I think I would like to see more people post, very simply said. I know there's a lot of people that are just lurking and never engage with anything, but they're actually observing a lot. Um, just start commenting and engaging more, I would say, and that would make it all a little bit more human. And that would actually also fulfill the purpose of being on a social network, to engage and exchange on things, right? Um, yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
maybe on the other side of B2B side, and that's only my personal experience, I what I really can't stand are sales messages that are completely irrelevant to me, right? Like really random sales messages where I don't have anything to do with the product or service that they're trying to sell. And either that's a technological problem where I was recommended in a certain navigator that didn't work, or people did not spend the time to spend maybe 10 seconds on my profile to realize that I'm not the right person to sell something to. But I wish that that would reduce things, because it actually reduces the experience of anyone who's getting irrelevant content and messages on LinkedIn as well, right? So I hope that would improve.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think once I posted something that was a little bit critical of the use of generative AI, and I got a ton of messages, sales messages, trying to sell me something that would help me write messages with
Oh
generative
no!
AI,
Oh
and I'm
no!
like, thank
That was
you.
the
I
opposite.
mean,
You proved my
exactly.
point. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Then, of course, there are the random things like private jet sales or something that it's like, why did you pick me? Whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. These things subtract from the overall experience. And I always think that even if you're trying to sell, the best way to do so is to, first of all, have a very good personal brand, so that people, if they do decide to check you, they can see and find out everything they do. They need to know about you, about what you stand for, about your product, and then go with more warmer messages. There is no script really that can be used. Every script that I've ever seen looks
Absolutely. Yeah.
artificial, and it looks like a script, and
Exactly.
that's not what people want to receive on a social network. So I fully agree with you. This is
Yeah.
definitely something that can improve. Very good. Well. Plenty of question here. We are at 42 minutes of time. I would like to ask you, do you have any tips? Anything you can share with our audience about how to get started? Let's say everyone is clear. The 2025 is the year to begin with your personal brand.
Yeah.
What tip would you give them?
Absolutely. I think number one is, don't be afraid of communicating, right? As long as you're not offending anyone, there's really nothing bad that can happen, right? So try to post about things you care about, that you think about in your day to day, that you think you have a unique point of view on, and just start posting. Don't overthink it, right? I mean, I see a lot of personal branding content out there where it starts with create your own vision, define your own personal brand, create a content plan, create a scheduling, and then start posting. But you don't have to create all of that to start posting, right? Just get started, see what works, see what resonates, and see what's fun for you, and then find the pattern yourself to then be more structured in how you want to do things. You can find your way of branding yourself on the way of doing it. You don't have to plan everything out in a perfect way, right? And I think that's maybe the best way to get started, right? You can also think about what you makes you unique as a person, right? What really drives you in your job, right? Is it about having an impact in a society? Is it about helping people? Is it about sharing knowledge? Is it about bringing people together, right? There's many personal motivations out there, and if you can realize what drives you personally, you might be able to channel that motivation through the content you're doing as well.
Yeah. I agree. Getting started is fundamental, and let me say, we do help organizations with aside from general marketing, marketing services, also with personal brand, and it's a lot easier to see that the executives of the people that we're assisting already started with something, because
Mm.
of course all the content plans and the structure and everything else are fundamental to scale, okay, to do more content and to make sure that certain things like the post with one like doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are certain things that experts can provide, but at the same time, we can't make miracles.
Exactly. That's true.
There still needs to be, first of all, a desire to build a personal brand, and already something at the base, or we sometimes help building it in the beginning, some value proposition and some intention and purpose. Why do we need a personal brand? What do I stand for? What would I like people to speak about me when I'm not there?
Exactly.
These are very foundational questions that everyone needs to ask when starting this personal brand, and that come before all the structure and so on, right? Yeah. Because that can be a blocker too, and it's more, I feel that it's more something for the experts, or someone that has really already accumulated a certain number of followers and so on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Very good. Here's the last question. There's a comment here. Great answer, Tiankai. Thanks. And yes, sales messages can get annoying. The best is building a strong brand and have people coming to you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because people do come to you. Yeah. And by the way, you were mentioning before about the collaboration with Scott Taylor. Again, one more case where we met on LinkedIn long time ago. And, we started, and again, another perfect example of how something that started through messages and through the fact that, we went over the page of Scott and we were amazed by it. It was too much fun. Then we met in person several times. Then we created the Master Data Marathon together. So this is not just this is not just sharing your coffee cup on Instagram and so on. There are real outcomes that comes as a result of it. Very good, very good. Well, what can I say, Tiankai? That was a really great talk, and I really appreciate today sharing a bit of your journey and how you managed to overcome certain hurdles, and really seeing it in practice, how you got started and where this is heading, where this led, and where this is heading as well. How can people reach out to you? What's the best way to do so?
Yeah, just contact me on LinkedIn, I would say. That's probably the easiest way. If you are into and are interested in watching my music videos, I have a YouTube channel as well, but you can find that through my LinkedIn profile as well. And yeah, I'm happy to exchange with anyone. And let me know if you want to talk about your personal brand as well. Always happy to give some advice here and there as well. Cool.
Yeah, very good, perfect. Will you be also on Apple Music soon?
Yeah, I mean, my music is actually on Spotify and Apple Music already.
So that's fantastic.
The original songs, all the parodies. There's a little bit of course, copyright problem and kind of making, let's say, musician money out of parodies. But my original songs, like Governors of Data and these other all kind of songs, they are on Spotify and Apple Music as well. So you can check them out there.
Excellent. One last one. Everyone can post. The barrier is in our head. Yes, being authentic is important, and it is not easy. For that, we human beings need to be self-reflective and allowing criticism. Natalia is posting about tomatoes, and I post about butter chicken, and that is completely fine because people can relate to simple stories. So, Tiankai, is the challenge is in the simplicity rather than in the complexity?
Oh, that's a really good question, Nadim. Somewhere in the middle between simplicity and complexity. If it's too, then it verges on the problem of generic as well, right? Let's say this is my.
We're losing you a little bit.
Is
robotic.
Better?
Still.
Okay, sorry.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. Not yet. Maybe you can try logging back in. Maybe it's gonna help a little bit. Najim, I remember the butter chicken post. That was a really great one. And Natalia about tomatoes or about paintings. Of course, it's always fun to see what's happening in Natalia's garden. So you were saying, Tiankai, I can hear you now.
Sorry. Yes, I was saying that I think the challenge lies in between to find the balance between simplicity and complexity. Because the danger with simplicity is that it might be too generic and that it doesn't
Mm,
have any unique point of view, right? Thinking about, for example, if I would say data is cool, right? And then everyone agrees, but it doesn't have any additional value than that, right? But it's a simple message. Complexity would be for me to write an essay of 1,000 words in a post and nobody was going to read it because they see immediately that it's too long. So how to turn something simple into an analogy for something complex, or how to translate something complex maybe into more simple terms, I think that is really the key, and that makes everyone unique, because the way you translate and bridge it, that's what is your personal authentic way of doing it. So yeah, I really
yeah.
like that questioning though. I think it's probably the connection between simplicity and complexity.
See, the thing is, simplicity doesn't necessarily mean simple, doesn't necessarily mean banal or superficial. In
Right.
fact, there is a special elegance in the ability of doing something complex and turn it into something simple. And it opens up enormous opportunities to appeal to a wider audience as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, simplicity, doing things simply, in my opinion, absolutely
Yeah.
just to know the difference that there is superficial, and
Right.
that's something that we definitely don't need. And we talked about it, about repeating content that has been seen before, or using sentences that we have already, that okay, congratulations, you discovered hot water,
Yeah.
there's nothing that value there. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for the question, Najim. That was a great one. And we're getting to the end of the session. I want to thank you again, Tiankai. I also want to encourage everyone who would like to connect with me to connect with me on LinkedIn, also to follow Ave Digital. And if anyone would like to connect with us to discuss about digital marketing and about personal branding, where again we offer assistance in speaking with your own voice rather than just turning it into an AI thing where you basically lose your voice and lose your authenticity and your personality in the process. Please do connect with us as well, and there will be soon a message in the comment section that my partner Ani will leave, and you can connect with her there. So Tiankai, until next time, I hope to meet with you in person. Maybe we've never met in person actually, so
That is
that
true.
would
We
be a
need to do
great
that.
one.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
good. Very good. If we ever come back to events in Germany, of course, we will definitely see what we can do. We used to do them in Berlin, not
Sure.
that far away from you, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm still a little bit more in the south, so it will take me,
Okay.
let's say, 3 to 4 hours with a train, but it's not that far. Yes. Cool.
Fantastic.
All right.
Tenkai, thanks a lot, and thanks everyone in the audience. Have a
Thank you very much for
fantastic
having me.
continuation of your day.
Cool. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.